talking about being in the prime. Sin bins are in the prime. 18 sin bins. Okay. I think I have a solution, and many people are offering their solutions, but I want you to be devil's advocate, or if you like it, Brian, get on board. I hate the 13 on 12, right? So some people say, leave it 13-13 and then deal with it next week. But that's not fair either, because that does not help the team that's, you're playing against. It actually helps the person or the team next week if they were to be suspended. What I think should happen is, for the more trivial stuff, for the heavier stuff that needs to go 10 in the bin or professional fouls, so be it, it's 13 on 12. But the ones we're seeing where it's just inadvertently they've got them.
Where he's third man in, like the ones on the weekend. Let's go to the Takiaho, for example.
Okay, right. So, and we seem to have forgotten about mitigating circumstances, right? We're throwing that in the bin. What I think should happen, and I think this is the best solution to what we've got currently, is Brian Fletcher whacks me high, as we've been seeing. Normally it's 10 in the bin. I would say, Brian, off you go. But you can be replaced, right? So replacements, managing your replacements these days is a big part of the game. So say, for example, you're the best player in the team. That's going to cost your team 1 to get you off. And if they want to get you straight back on, you've burnt 2 interchanges. That is a heavy punishment for your team. But from the fans' point of view, the integrity of the game is 13 on 13 still. In the event you get towards the end of the game and you've got no more replacements left, well, at that point, you play with 12. Think about that one. The second one I want to address is this.
But these are for these ones that we saw.
Correct.
So not one when I'm going to clean you up from behind.
No, that's right. 10 in the bin, down to 12. Right? But what we're talking about, no, Brian, you're off. Sorry, mate. And it costs you an interchange to bring someone on. And if you want to come back on, Brian, there's a second one you've got to burn, right? And that really hurts teams and their management of replacements, right? That's what I think would be a better outcome. Part 2, which is frustrating fans, is the belated stoppage. So the game gets stopped. We've got momentum back in the game, and the game gets stopped for something that happened moments or minutes ago, and then the referee stops the game and explains it, right? I don't think we need that. I think what we need to do is, right, advise the broadcasters, advise ground management. Brian Fletcher's coming off, right? Just get your yellow shirt to run out with the card, bang, and then you just, whilst the game's happening, they just take you off. We don't need to stop the game for it.
Okay, but are you saying this is the independent doctor?
No, this is not HIA. This is when the bunker interferes later on, and then somebody belatedly has got to get binned or So Brian's done his discretion 6 tackles ago, and then we get down the end of the field and we stop the play. Let the play go. And your yellow short or whoever it is, and it needs to be done in a timely manner, they just race up and say, Brian, sorry, mate, you've been binned. It's explained on the board. The broadcasters know why Brian's going off. But the whole time the game's still going on. We're not stopping the game for it.
I like everything except that bit.
Why?
Just let it go. If you don't see it, if the referee doesn't see it, unless it's something blatant.
But it's important. You've got to get it right. So I'd rather them get it right, and then it's going to cost them the interchanges. You've still got to get it right, and it doesn't stop the flow of the game.
Do you have to get it right when we've got all these people watching every angle? And do we have to interrupt the game?
But it doesn't interrupt the game. That's what I'm saying. You come off, and you've paid the price, but the game's got its general flow. We're not stopping for a penalty. They've missed the penalty opportunity. The game marches on, and then you're still punished despite the fact it's belatedly, where you slide off, and it's like a magic trick. The whole game's still marching on. Nobody's impacted. We're not stopping the bloody game, and you're still paying the price.
I know I've asked you this before. Is there anyone from the match review committee sitting in the bunker live?
I don't know the answer to that.
Because what I would suggest is they're used to, and they've seen precedents before. So they know, right, is this worth a charge? Probably not. Can they not be sitting in there with the bunker and the bunker goes, just quickly have a look at this, but don't tell anyone else. Don't stop the play. Is this worthy of a penalty or a sin bin? Because if we're going to, is he going to be charged? Because, they've got every angle.
But my philosophy is
so
the ref's got enough to worry about.
Yeah.
If he thinks it's high, just give a penalty. And he never has to adjudicate on this. The match review committee can go quickly through it. And then whilst the game's playing, the bloke comes out with the yellow shirt and drags him off and says, sorry, mate, you're going. Game's still playing in the back play.
I get all that, but I'm just finding it, the referee or the guy in the bunker is seeing a high shot, knowing, all right, that's what he's been told. They've been told, right, anything that's high, report it, tell the referee. But can we have anyone sitting from the match review committee saying, no, that's not going to, there's no point doing that because we're not going to suspend him or fine him.
No.
It's just, that was mitigating circus.
That's right.
Which was the Takiaho thing.
I think it's too much for the refs to have, and the refs cop a hard time, which is unfair. But the thing is, go and look at the premiership ladder. There are teams performing well, and there are teams who aren't performing well. So why shouldn't we have refs performing well and refs who aren't performing well? Let's go to Ipswich, where Matt is. G'day, Matty.
Yeah, g'day. How's it going?
Good, Matthew. What do you got?
Mate, yeah, look, just wanted to say, with the whole crackdown on the high contact, my sort of thoughts as a watcher of the game is that they say that accidents are always going to happen, which they are, and there's also people that say, well, you know, coaches and players just need to learn to tackle lower. But that's actually, I think Joey Johns said something about it yesterday, that, you know, players go low and they're putting themselves at risk of getting, copping an injury, like I think he used the Penrith player, the one who got sin bin, put a high contact on
Sorensen.
Brown as an example.
Sorensen, yeah.
That's the one, Sorensen, yeah. So it's like, yeah, I don't know, it's a contact sport. I know they want to protect the players, but I think there needs to be a little bit more common sense and discretion exercised by the bunker. And that's all I wanted to say, guys.
Nah, Matty, I'm with you, mate. The thing is, when you go low, then you've got your chance of hitting the hard parts of the
hips and
the hips, the
knees.
elbows and stuff like that. I've been saying that you need to be rewarded for tackling around the legs. And I remember they were going to bring this in. I reckon when I was playing.
Yep.
They said, right, if you tackle down low, the referee will give you ample time to get a second marker there. But it lasted a month.
Exactly right.
And then, anyway. Sorry.
Matty, look, we're getting a lot of text, right? And I can understand why people are saying this, but we've got to think bigger picture, right? So we're getting a lot of text saying, if it's so trivial, whatever else, just let them stay out there. But you've got to think about the big picture and possible litigation down the track. And that the NRL, yes, they have concern for the players, but they've also got concern about massive legal cases down the track. So they've got to be showing to do something. So therefore, that's why I've proposed, Matt, on the interchange. You're still punishing them, but we're not killing the integrity of the game, making it 13 on 12. You do have to show a duty of care. So therefore, if a player gets it wrong, and in many cases it's completely accidental, but it's still, they haven't nailed it, yes, you've got to be replaced. You cost yourself an interchange. The player has to get another interchange to come on. What do you think about that, Matty?
Yeah, so I guess, to that point, Joel, my way of thinking, mate, is that, you put me on the spot here, mate. Sorry.
That's all right. Anyway, have a think about it, mate.
No, sorry, I did have my response, mate. Sorry, it was that if yes, you can punish the player for a marginal high contact all you want, then ban them, interchange them, whatever your solution was. But that's not really protecting the player who's copped the high hit, has it? They're still going to get that injury. They're still...
Yeah, that's right. But the same applies with the sin bin. Like, you can't... it's the game we're in. We can't ever get it out of the game. That's what we play. But we do have to encourage people not to do it or punish them for being a bit careless. Good on you, Matt. Just before we break, we might share with you really quickly the Joey Johns audio that he's referring to, Matt from Ipswich. Here's what he had to say.
The over-analysis and the overreach of the bunker in play. The bunker should be used only for try-scoring opportunities, unless it's a send-off. It's an out-and-out send-off and they miss it, then fair enough, come in and send the player off. Going back 8 plays in a set of 6 where the referee doesn't see it, the touch judges don't see it, the players don't see it, and to send someone to the bin, it is absolutely farcical.
Okay, that's the great Andrew Johns. More with you after this.
Let's go to 4, Adrian at the town, Seatown.
Adrian, hello.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Good, Adrian.
Yo, Adrian, what's doing?
Mate, I'm just, with this whole sin bin thing, like the coaches come out and say, we don't coach blokes to hit in the head, and I agree with that. But, like, you guys are both former players, especially you, Brian, and you've always played in the middle. Like, if you're, like, in and around the area of the tackle, and you're not doing anything, like, the coach will, like, stop the tape, and he'll say, okay, Brian, you talk me through what you're doing there, because you're not contributing anything. You know what I mean? And you can't come in low because you run the risk of getting pinned for like a cannonball or, heaven forbid, a hip drop. And when you try to come in, like, where are you supposed to come in?
Yeah, I understand all this. And the thing that I feel is wrong at the moment, and Sugar's right, the litigation, lawyers and as much as I don't want to say it, there are ex-players and there will be ex-players in the future who will take the NRL to court. But you're saying the NRL had to be seen as doing something.
You can't just let it go.
No,
you have to take action.
Well, I feel a penalty is sufficient. Sin bin, and I know why they're doing it. They're doing it so they can say to the lawyers later on, this is the steps we took. I think a penalty is sufficient in some, especially in the day and age of this game, how that is punishment enough.
I don't think they'd say it's suffice punishment.
But you can't give it like 10 minutes when...
That's why I reckon you should be able to replace them.
I know that, but what I'm saying, for one that is obvious, you're attacking the head.
Yep.
And we used to have the careless, we used to have reckless and what was intentional.
Yeah.
They seem to have gone out the window.
Yeah. Yep.
The ones that we saw on the weekend are not sin bins.
But
why can't we say, why can't the lawyers or the NRL, maybe they've been spoken about, isn't that a penalty enough to say, righto, that's a deterrent, righto, well, you're not going to go near the head, that's a penalty, you're going to march down 40 metres.
Yeah, I get that.
What's the 10 minutes going to do? What's the 10 minutes going to do? I've just been sin bin for 10 minutes.
Well, the 10 minutes is 13 on 12. It is punishing the team.
I understand that, but it's not worth a sin bin.
No, I agree with that. That's why I'm saying that I believe... Anyway, my notion is to substitute them, but it costs you an interchange. But anyway...
I'm going to Lance in Brisbane, and he's saying Sugar is right on the money.
What are we on the money about, Lancey?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Going good.
Well, let's clarify this first, because the name is an important thing. Are you a Lance or a Lance? Lance.
Lance. Mate, I'm a Lance.
You're a Lance. Good.
What about if you had a boil? If you had a boil on your thigh, do I lance it or lance it?
No, you lance it.
Okay,
mate.
all right, no worries. Okay, what do you want to chat about, Lancey?
Hey, I just wanted to weigh in. Look, I've been following footy for 50 odd years, and obviously the last couple of weeks it's getting out of hand with all the feedback on regards to the head high, and listen to a lot of people weigh in on it, and actually what Sugar said is probably one of the most sensible things. I think he's right on the money with regards to taking the interchange, penalising the interchange instead of penalising the players. So in my opinion, if you're penalising the players, as you guys would know, you work your guts out for 80 minutes on that field, and you've got a slight lead over the other team. You lose a player, you lose all your momentum, and you end up losing the game. So I don't think players deserve to be put in that situation. Whereas taking the interchange off, it'll work really well, I believe.
Good on you, Lancey. And it also impacts the viewers, it impacts the fans, all of that. So that's my opinion. Anyway, Lance, appreciate that. Let's go to Deb. Deb from Mortdale. G'day, Deb.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Well, thank you, Deb.
I'm a frustrated fan with it all as well, and I agree with the litigation. I'd be curious to know how many concussions are really caused more by poor tackling techniques, but that's another question. My point is the way the players are reacting at the moment. They're acting like soccer players. They're putting it on. As soon as there's a knock, they feel a knock to the head, the hand goes up and, I've been hit in the head. And I think the refs and bunkers are reacting to that just as much as what's happening.
Yeah, Deb, this is what a lot of them are coached to do this, to get the penalty.
We're seeing one right now, Deb, in front of our eyes right now on Fox League.
This was last night, the Tigers and the Sharks. Unfortunately, players are going to keep doing this.
The Tigers wouldn't have done it. It would have been a Sharks player, not a Tigers player.
It was actually Luai. It was actually Jerome Luai.
But, come on.
It is.
Yeah, and then he had to go off for 15 minutes, and the player that got sent in for 10. So that's not even fair.
And I think we have to get our head around that it's here to stay.
Yep.
It's here to stay. My only issue is the sending off, the 10 minutes in the bin. Some are...
Agree.
I just feel that, righto, we'll give him a penalty downfield. That should be enough to deter it, because the coach is going to get into him anyway. The sin binning is... And in the momentum of our game now, as soon as you got 12 men, you're gone.
Correct.
You are absolutely gone.
Correct. Anyway.
And if you got 10 minutes, if you did, going back to your theory, if it was severe enough for 10 minutes, that's it. 12 men. Like if you come and clean someone up, but I don't want them to send like the Takiyaho. I keep going back to the Takiyaho one, which was an absolute joke. That's not a sin bin. But are you saying it should be sin bin? So you're happy to do all that?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't see the Taukeiaho one.
It was, it was one of those shoulder
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I'd have to see that one to answer that. But, Deb, thank you so much for the call, and go you mighty Tigers. Let's go to Chermside where Danny's there. G'day, Danny.
Hey, guys, you just cut out. Can you hear me?
Got you loud and clear.
Is it Darnie or Denny?
I want to be Danny with 3 N's, like all these other young kids spell their names stupidly.
All right, Bonaducci, what
It's
do you got
weird.
for us?
Hey, this kamikaze runner from the kickoff,
Brownie?
I think the defenders, we know defenders are copping it 2-1 to the ball carrier. Why don't we allow these? I think it's just a continuation of what Joey said. Just allow the defenders to brace themselves, and then that kamikaze guy, he's got to learn to stop or hesitate and pass or sidestep.
Who said kamikaze guy?
I think,
Brownie?
yeah, they're like
Are you talking
Brownie,
about
Nathan Brown, the
Nathan Brown,
ex-athlete head.
Yeah, gotcha.
But I challenge you to give me a bigger roar at a stadium when Brownie's off the back fence. Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
Everyone loves
it. It's a rule, we love it, but they're going to... poor old Nelson in the grand final, he didn't do anything wrong. He was just standing there minding his own business, and Collins ran into his shoulder. And then he couldn't play the grand final.
Good on you, Danny. Well done, DeVito. We appreciate that, mate. 1300 01 1170. Jason says, Joel, I like your idea about the replacements, but how do you stop the front rower who is due to be replaced, hit Cleary high to force a HIA? Jason, if that was intentional, then in that case,
you're gone.
You're gone. You're sent off or sin bin. That's the case for that. So we're not talking about that situation. 1300 01 1170 is the way to have your say, or text 0457 736 736. This one here, Benji wouldn't coach that. You're wrong, Joel. What did I say?
I don't know, but we need to speak to a lawyer. Could we get a lawyer, someone to say what is enough evidence to say that the NRL is doing enough so there's no recourse in getting sued? Because at the end of the day, we keep doing this. We keep coming up with, righto, well, we've got the 11-day stand down, bang. You can't shoulder charge. You can't punch. What are the new ones? The 10-metre dropout.
Yep.
So is this going to keep going on and on and on and on?
Well, we can ask Vossi and Brandy tomorrow. Lee Hadjimbatellis is going to join him.
Is he? All right. Well, we can find out how many more steps do we have to put in before we can say, righto, I'm going to run out there on Sunday afternoon and I know that this is going to happen and I won't have to sue the NRL.
Fair enough. Let's go to Pete, Pistol Pete, the Panther. How are you, Pete?
Sugar, Brian, I agree with your idea. I think it's a great idea. I think the penalty for marginal ones, and we're talking marginal ones.
Yes, that's right. That's what we're talking about.
The Mitchell one, and now we're talking Isaiah Yeo. With the Mitchell and the Isaiah Yeo, where are they supposed to go when the ball runner trips a metre before he's getting tackled?
Correct.
Where's the defender supposed to go? If it's a wet track in Brisbane, there'll be nobody on the field by the last game on Sunday.
Yep.
If that's the case.
And Pete, within half a second.
Correct.
The last one in Origin last year, when Joseph Swaley got Reece Walsh, I still think he couldn't get out of the way.
No,
he slipped.
I agree with that too.
He slipped.
Yep.
And in the space of half a second, it's humanly impossible to change your tackling technique.
And I also agree with that, but it's a conversation for another day.
Okay.
Is that he shouldn't have missed the Roosters games. He should have missed Origin, the rest of the series. That's fine. Good on you, Pete. We're going to march on because there's so many callers banked up here. Let's head to Hemmant, which is a suburb of Brisbane, where Tim's there. G'day, Tim. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, mate. In the ballpark, it's good enough.
Okay.
I was thinking, I love the way we're going with with the head-eye tackle, and it's something we won out of the game. But we've just got to get there. We've got to make a start. We've made a start of a few years. I like the way it's going. Eventually the game will evolve with that type of tackle. Eventually,
is this Crash Craddock on the phone, Tim?
Does sound a bit Crash Craddock.
He's up in Brisbane, way.
Oh, don't worry, mate. I've been crashed plenty of times. If I sound like him, I've explained a few things. But I think you've got to make a start and allow the game to evolve. And what you're saying is, well, come up with newer ideas. And I just love the way Joey brought it out again, because it's driving us all crazy. Accidentals or very little impact. Yeah, it did make contact with above the shoulder of their head, if you like. Maybe not 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, or an extra 20-metre penalty down the pitch for that particular incident. But I like the way it's going because something needed to happen. because and what might happen too is you might get something going the other way where the one-on-one tackle gets rewarded. Instead of it counting for tackle 2, it'll count for tackle 2 or 3. All of a sudden, they don't have as many tackles because one guy was able to affect a one-on-one tackle. I mean, we just don't know where it's going, where it could go.
That's it, Timmy.
The game could develop into, but we need to make it. I mean, you're on the right track.
No, good on you, Tim. We appreciate that. Now, I'll tell you what, not everyone is agreeing with my idea. Many are, many aren't. But what everyone's agreeing on, they're unhappy with what we're doing at the moment.
Yeah.
That's what everyone is agreeing on, that we are unhappy with what's happening at the moment.
The punishment doesn't fit the crime.
No. Batto Dragon is waiting patiently. Batto Dragon, what's happening, BD?
Yeah, fellas, how are we?
Good, mate. What do you got?
Good. It's not think you're on the right track with the sin bin. I think the 10 minutes is too big a punishment. I think, however, with your idea, Shug, with the forced interchange, basically, that's what's going to become a forced interchange in a way.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yep. I always try to look at it from the coach's perspective, as in how can I get a reward out of it.
Yep.
And I think one of the callers or messages just before me brought up the point, if I've got a prop or a forward and they're coming to the end of their time, you know, the last 20 minutes of the match, and they're going to be subbed off anyway, what's stopping them from, you know, putting a lazy one on and something like, I understand, you know, if it's a horrific thing, they're going to be subbed, it's going to be a send-off.
Yep, send-off or sin bin. And the other thing is they're probably going to get ruled out the next week. So you're not going to have a perfect system ever, but that's what we're saying. Those ones that are intentional.
Yeah.
Those days are gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the goon.
I'd like to see more of like the power play in the hockey where, you know, if they do get a 6-pointer, then the bloke can come back on.
Yeah, I've offered that before as well, and many people have too. It's not unique to me. But, no, I don't hate that one either. But no one likes the 10 minutes anymore.
What about this? What about if you you hit someone high, you have to go, a bit like in touch, you've got to go the other end of the pitch in front of the opposing fans and sit in the dead ball line until they score.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, right. We'll set up we'll set up the cage.
They do 2 sets each.
Cop abuse.
They do 2 full sets each. That's what they do.
Is it only 2 in touch?
Yep.
So it's 4 sets. 4 minutes he'll be on the bin for.
Yeah.
On the sideline.
Yeah, 2 full sets.
But not on the side, behind the post, getting ridiculed by the opposing fans.
That's right. Sit him on one of those.
BD's still there.
Good on you, BD, mate. Thank you very much.
Off.
Lots of texts coming through. 0457 736 736. Look, we're not going to dedicate the whole show to this sim billing stuff. We will read all of these texts in the break, and there is a lot of them here. Many different opinions, and that's the great thing about rugby league, right? We don't all go for the same team. We don't all agree on certain things, Brian, but we do like the Trumpet of Patriots.
Yeah, I'll be doing this for the next hour and 45 minutes. I'll just drip feeding you what the Trumpet of Patriots, their policies are into. We can solve the housing problem with a deposit from your super, a 3% loan cap, and an establishment of communities with fast trains, 20 minutes to the CBD, Trumpet of Patriots, also known now as Top.
The run home with Joel and Fletch. What, you're still here? Well, you can see more on the Joel and Fletch socials and catch us live on SEN Radio, you beautiful humans.